All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 566 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today we're going to talk some more Atlanta Falcons. I haven't heard any rumblings about what's going on with Georgia Southern. Usually things happen after the spring game. Still haven't heard anything, so no news is good news. I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. If something comes up, we definitely will discuss it. But nevertheless, we're going to talk Atlanta Falcons. And they just had a press conference about the draft, the pre-draft press conference. I want to give you my thoughts and opinions on that. And I want to tell you guys right now, man, I think we have a really good situation here with Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. I mean, you're going into year 3. You saw what happened the first 2 years, and people could kind of hold those 2 years against them. But now they have enough room to have cap space, and they signed a lot of players. And this draft is really like it's going to be it's definitely going to be a game changing draft because of the fact that not only with the guys that you brought in, you also have the guys that that are going to be a part of this draft and how it's going to make up the team and the vision that these guys really wanted. The first 2 years, it wasn't necessarily the vision. They just basically brought guys in to be good football players. So we're going to get into all that, what this press conference meant and what these guys are thinking of going forward. Because I think we as fans, I don't think we realize how good, that we have it with these two guys. I think we have, I can't remember a time where we had a general manager and a head coach that was this in tune in off-season moves and on the field situations where these guys are winning games in spite of the problems. Because the first 2 years we had no business going 7-10 on any of those 2 years. I mean, we can really say that. Nobody's going to sit here and say we underachieved with 7 wins because the team was worse than what it was. But we're going to look forward. If this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Hit the like button if you don't mind. Let people know what we're doing over here. It helps raise the channel up, get more eyes on it so more people can come through, create a bigger audience so we have better feedback. Also, if you guys don't mind, try to subscribe to more than one. If you want to be on YouTube or Rumble, it's also cool to go over there and give me subscribe on the podcast side of things, because you just don't know, like one avenue don't be up, but the other one do. It's kind of weird how that happens. Also, I'm on firstandframerates.com. That is the hub of where all the podcast stuff is. You can go check that out. Maybe you'll like the website. Hopefully you do. It's still a work in progress. And you can support. I was looking at this press conference. I watched it a few times. And one thing I noticed from the beginning, these guys were pretty much talking about how they were able to possibly move up, move back, if they were have a situation where they have an opportunity to get players at a certain area. Like they're not against moving up or moving back if need be. I think they have a contingency plan for pretty much everything. The way they're talking, the way they sound, like it seems like they have a plan for anything and everything that they're going to do. And I think that's what's really amazing about these guys. You've seen it for the first 2 years, ever since they've signed Kyle Pitts all the way up to who they have now. Every pick they had was like pretty much calculated. He also, in this press conference, Arthur Smith talked about how far along they were watching to get Tyler Algier. Even though they even getting him in the 5th round, it wasn't a situation where, we feel like he'll drop to us. No, they already had him on the board to say, look, we're going to pick him and we know where we could possibly get him at. And Tyler Algier turned into a pretty good dynamic player for the team. So the way they strategize talent and where they're going to pick guys and where they feel like they can get somebody without reaching or vice versa, they're doing a pretty good job. They also talked about the whole situation with Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder. They kind of said that they don't like to anoint a player or give a player a position, but I kind of got a sense that the quarterback position was something that they wanted Desmond Ridder to know that, look, you need to start taking some type of initiative to be that guy. Taylor Heineke was signed. They said they talked about with him and his agent where this was going to be an ideal situation for him to be a backup. And Taylor Heineke embraced that role and it looked like that's how it is. But one thing I noticed, they did say that they're not against looking at a quarterback, depends on who falls where. That's really interesting. Now, me personally, I would like for them to take Desmond Ridder and develop him and see what they got out of him, at least for a year. See what they get. If you get an elite quarterback, cool. If not, move on to the next. But they're the experts. I'm not. I'm just a guy behind the microphone. Also, they talked about, the development of Avery Williams. And that kind of interested me because I didn't even think about this at one point. Because, we got Tyler Algier. We got to realize Avery Williams is he's listed as a running back on the team. And he's not that bad of a running back. He's exactly what I was talking about in the last episode. You want somebody to be a guy that can catch out the backfield and create space. Now, Tyler Algier is a thumper. He's kind of like a little bit of a tweener as well, but he's more like a thumper. And you want a guy who can mix that up. Avery Williams could be that guy. I'm still a fan of Caleb Huntley, and I don't necessarily 100% know what they're going to do with Cordell Patterson. I talked about him being a wide receiver. I think he's a bona fide receiver, but that's another story for another day. But he does run the ball out the backfield, and he's pretty good at it as well. So the whole situation with them with Bijan Robinson, which, I'm not necessarily, the more I think about it, I'm not necessarily against picking up Bijan Robinson, because I thought about this today, because the last episode I wasn't really, because I'm a Nolan Smith, Christian Gonzalez, you know how I am, I made the list of the guys I would like to see. But one thing I didn't even think about, that Bijan Robinson can play the slot and catch out the backfield. That is very interesting. So that's something to keep in mind right there. Bijan Robinson runs like a thumper, but he's not necessarily that type of back. He's a talent that can create space as well. So just think about that. But I also listened to what these guys said about what their vision for this team. And you can say what you want about the first two seasons. I get it. The first two seasons were kind of weird. In some cases, a lot of people had us winning anywhere between, I know one person said was going to win one game. Some people had us winning maybe 5 or 6. Now, the way this team is set up, this is pre-draft, and I think after draft is going to even get better. And once they get down to the 53-man roster, you're really going to know what you got. I think they're going. I really believe that they could sweep the NFC South. I don't see any team in the NFC South that's better than the Falcons right now. So that's 6 wins right there. You get 3 or 4 more wins, you're really probably going to be, in the running for getting, a first round bye. And I think now it's only like one team gets a bye or something like that. So that might be different now. But you kind of know what I'm saying. You're probably like in the running for a 2 or 3 seed in the playoff. So you gotta be really careful about what people are saying about, this team and what they're doing. I think what these two guys are putting together is really nice. They talked about what they get out of Chris Lindstrom, what they can get out of O-line. They already talked about what they're going to do with the pass rush. Like I said, me personally, I think they should take Nolan Smith, but I'm just not. No, I'm not sure if they're going to do that now. But that's just my look right there. That's where my personal opinion is they're going to take him. But the whole thing about the entire press conference was really, really interesting. I really like what I heard. Like I said, I'll put the link down in the description if you want to check it out. But these guys have a vision. These guys are doing something really good for this team. I don't know if people don't see it at this point. I don't know what to tell them, because it's cool to sit here and be laid back and say, oh, they didn't pick Lamar Jackson, so the whole season's a wash. But there's another thing to say, like, wait a minute, these guys got a pretty good group right here. Good receivers, good tight end. You could get a second running back. The offensive line has been re-signed. The defensive front is been looking phenomenal. They signed a couple of cornerbacks, got Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell is still here. You got a pretty solid team. I ain't even mentioned Richie Grant, but like I said, you got a pretty solid team here. I honestly don't see another team in the NFC South that's better than what we have. And I think at the end of the day, I think Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith kind of feel like they're playing with house money. They don't really want to admit it because they're going to take every pick of the draft serious. But when you are able to have $80-something million in cap and you are able to pick, you're able to pick guys up and fulfill your needs before the draft, you're doing really good in that aspect. So it doesn't even matter. Honestly, it don't really matter who they pick at number 8. I think the most interesting ones is, are they going to get more picks? Are they going to stand pat with 7 picks that they have? Or what do they do with the later rounds? Because those later round picks are, in my opinion, those are the most interesting ones, because those are the ones that usually make the team and make an impact. First rounders, obviously, you have generational talent. That's going to, make something happen. But we've seen too many times where first round talent just didn't play out as well. I mean, Vic Beasley comes to mind. You know what I mean? It just happens. It's kind of it kind of sucks, because you want that person who put the first pick in on the first pick of the draft or the first pick in the first round for your team. You want them to make something happen right away, and then you turn around and get somebody like a Tyler Algier. You see what I'm saying? Drake London done well. Kyle Pitts have done well for themselves. They're all two of them are first round picks, and I'm just really interested to see what they're going to do, because I feel like with the way these guys are setting up, the way they're talking, it looks like these guys are going to be in it for the long haul. I know there's some places said that these guys have a short leash. I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree, but that's another story for another day. But I highly advise you to listen to this press conference. I think these guys did very well. The link will be down in the description. Go check that out. And we'll see, because there's no wrong answers at this point. There's really no wrong answers to what they do in this draft. Absolutely none. They could do whatever they want to, and it's going to be a W. Unless if you reach for somebody that's an undrafted free agent, you pick them in the first or second round or whatever. It's something like that. That's weird. But these guys got a good head on their shoulder. They know what they're going to do, and it's refreshing to see. It's good to see guys that are actually talking football, about football, and not trying to get you in cap hell to win games. These guys are actually doing it the right way, and it should be applauded. We're going to see how this all plays out down the road. The draft is coming up in a couple of days. Can't wait to see how that plays out. And it's going to be awesome. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about the pre-draft press conference. You think these guys are talking a good game if you saw it? If you didn't see it, the link will be down in the description. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Where do I stand on this? I think this is a phenomenal thing, and I think we got some good guys in the front office, and it's going to be really interesting. Anybody that they pick is going to be a good pick. There's not going to be a bad pick based on what I know what these guys have been doing. And to be honest with you, if you look at this entire situation since these guys been here for the last going on 3 years now, they whiffed on one pick, in my opinion. And that was Jalen Mayfield. That was the only pick they really whiffed on. All the other ones seem like these guys are contributors, are pretty solid. So I'm going to get up out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys on the next one. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.